gonna quickly present them. So, Mr. Abimael Innocent is a songwriter, is a composer, a worship leader, and is also the CEO of Cry of Worship Ministry. Welcome. And we have, yes, round of applause. And we also have with us Mr. Allen, confidential. Paul, I'm kidding. And he's a creative coach, a pianist, a music educator, a podcaster, and is the author of God and Gigs, Succeed as a Musician Without Sacrificing Your Faith. Okay, so please. So one of the first questions that I have for you is very simple. What does music means to you? Anybody?
Oh, wow. Okay, I get this one first. Number one, thank you so much for having me. This is an amazing, just the conversations we're having. I am already feeling right at home. And so what does music mean to me? This is a very hard question because I've really don't remember life without music. My mother was my first music teacher. She says I was playing the piano at age of 2. I don't remember, but she says I was trying to sing Sarah Smile and play it on the piano. And so I grew up with it, and it's around me all the time. It is my profession now as well. But I said this to somebody the other day. We were talking about this, and we said that music it feels like it's your identity. But it can't be my identity because I'm also a husband, I'm a father. I always say 4 words. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a musician, and I'm forgiven. So those are my 4 words. So I have 3 identities that have nothing to do with music. So what I tell people is that music is not necessarily my identity, but it is the way that I relate with the world. So like you said, I think someone else said, like when someone says a word, I'm going to think of a song in the title immediately. When I think of something that makes me happy or sad, I'm going to think of what do I need to hear? I relate to the world through the sound around me. When I hear a car horn, I might hear boom, 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 and I think there's a music in just a car horn. So it's the way I relate to the world. It's not necessarily everything I do, although 90% of what I do comes from music. It is not who I am, but it is how I relate to the world and how I respond to the world. And I think everybody in this room, if you're an artist or even just a lover, I always said this to my students when I was an elementary school teacher. No one is born hating music. There's no babies that hate music. It's impossible. It's part of our human element. So that's what it means to me. That's something that makes life richer and it lets me relate to the world in a much more beautiful way.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm innocent, not guilty. I love the question. 30 years ago, if you asked me this question, I would say music was duty, like homework, sometimes a burden. The reason why, because I grew up in a musical family. My dad used to be a music teacher and musician in the army, Haitian army. My mom used to sing some high-pitched note in the house all the time. So we were kind of forced to do music. And that's why I say it was a duty for me. Sometimes it's better for me to go play. But my dad said, come sit down. We're going to teach you how to read music. And then he gives us homework to do. So that, but after a while, if you ask me the same question, I would say it's a habit for me. It become like a habit. I just saw myself doing music, right? In class, instead of listening to the teacher, I was writing music. And my sister was showing me my notebook when I was in high school. That incredible. And right now, if you ask me the same question, I say, it's a style of life for me. I live music and I love it. I can't spend a day without like writing some song. I'm working and then I think about it, and thank God I become to be efficient in everything that I'm doing, and I praise God for that. That's music to me.
Thank you. So there's like a particularity with both of you here. You're a gospel composer, right? and you're Christian, right? So what is like the the role of music in connection to your faith and in impacting maybe other people's lives?
Okay. If I understand the question, so I put emphasis in the word impacting. So God has given us music uh, to glorify Him, to represent Him, to connect with people in the world. But like they have music in all kind of situation. Music and the biggest emotion of humankind. You see music like crying, um, big feast, big thing. You see music everywhere. So music hasn't, for me, I have it. I not only produce music, and then I create some type of relationship with kids. And right now, at this moment, my joy is to see kids that I trained years ago. They become like the head of the gospel music, not head of the general gospel music, but in the Haitian community. I can name some people like Dali Benson that everybody knows, champion. So this boy, I always take him as an example. I started teaching him when he was 11. And now I can sit down and see this is the work that God has put in me to do, and is a kind of satisfaction. So for being an impactor, um, we can use the music like thank God to the technology. Back in the days, you could sing in a church. I used to travel from church to church, but now we just produce your music, and then you get some good tips like how to put them like YouTube in the streaming programs, so you impact the world in a second. So I don't know if I answer fully the question. So as far as I know, music is easier nowadays to impact the world. The world. If a journalist is speaking in a radio, he can speak like from the morning to night. Nobody cares too much. If I write a book, like you just said, a lot of people don't read. But the same word, take a guy that know how to rap. He takes the same word and put it in a rap music. Hey, in a second you're gonna see everybody singing it, and the message gonna come to them in a second. That's how powerful music is.
I do love the question. It does go right to the heart of what turned into my platform for God and Gigs. It's literally me sitting there in a blues club after leaving my being called out of full-time ministry, which was really weird. When God says leave full-time ministry, it's like, what? I thought that's what I was supposed to be doing. So I played in church pretty much my whole life from 14, 13 on. And then I get to a point that I realized that I got a jazz degree. And what am I supposed to do with this jazz degree? And I realized, oh, I'm supposed to play music with it. I'm supposed to go play jazz and do stuff like that. And so when you say how music impacts my faith and how is it connected, it was the realization that this quote that I heard that is so powerful to me still, and I put it in my book, that there is nothing in the world that God does not call mine. And that includes music. So, but then I'm playing on a Saturday in places where music usually people in the church would say, like, you're not supposed to go there. So when you say how did music impact my faith, it became my understanding of how I can connect with God and connect with my faith through my art, no matter where my art goes. Because if the art belongs to God and I belong to God, then everything I put out into the world still belongs to Him wherever I go. And so it was this realization that I realized, okay, I have to be the same person, and I have to give the same amount of devotion to my art and my craft, whether I'm playing on Sunday or Saturday, whether I'm writing a song here that has Jesus in it, or whether I'm writing a song that says, I love potatoes. It doesn't matter. I have to give the same amount of excellence to it, because if it belongs to God, then God invented all the notes people say, "Oh, the devil this, the devil that." No, the devil didn't make any new notes. God made all the notes, so He owns them all. So that's just my quick way of saying that it really does encompass everything that I believe, that my art and my music does impact my faith. And if I never played for anybody else, I would still be in my room at my piano playing at 2 o'clock in the morning. And that's my prayer. That's my way of connecting. But then when I go outside, it's still feeding me, and I can impact it. And I do play on Sundays, and I do worship, and I'm a worship leader and things like that. And we do that as our ministry outward. But if I don't use it to connect with God here, then it doesn't matter what I do here. And so that's one of the most important things to me, is that it has to be both vertical, it has to be horizontal, and it has to be internal. So that's how it impacts me, I think. I hope I answered that question okay.
Sorry, the last part you just said, it has to be internal. It's what you give is from you first, and if you don't have, you cannot give. And then our call as a worshiper is something like everlasting. As a singer, as a, let's say, worship, God put this in us just to worship Him, and whatever the word you put in your music, you know that music is a divine art. It's just from God. So
That's a great way to see it. Um, I have another question for you. How do you think we can use music to foster like unity among people? You know, to go beyond all those things that divides us.
I'll try. This is such a great question. And one of the things, I think it goes right back to what this conference really does. It shows that music is universal. It shows that no matter whether it's rap, rock, country, Afrobeat, any type of genre, there's thousands, obviously we could name a million different genres, but we all feel something when you hear it. You may have preferences in terms of what kind of music you love, right? So we have all these different ways of listening and enjoying, but if I hear a good country song, I can't deny it's a good country song. It's good. Like, I'm trying not to like it but this is really good. And so the unification, I think, that it really brings people together is, number one, we realize we have a human experience, that we all love this thing. And then when we come together to create it, there's nothing like the synergy. I don't know how many of you guys go to concerts. I mean, COVID kind of knocked that out, and then all of a sudden we finally got outside again. And when you're in a concert or a worship experience or any place where there's congregation of people together, an audience singing together, I don't think that exists anywhere else in the world. Like painters, we love painters, but painters you do it by yourself. Sculptor, you do it by yourself and then you present it. TV, you create it and then you show. The one aspect where everyone comes together is live music and a performance where that cannot be replicated by AI. It's a human experience. So that brings us together, one, in the creation of it. It brings us together in the appreciation of it. And it brings us together, I think, in the understanding that when you have something like that, like you just said, is divinely spotted, people that, doesn't matter what your faith is, people just know it comes from something. They know it's spiritual. That's probably a better word. Even if you don't believe it's divine in terms of God, you still know it's spiritual. Everybody believes that music is spiritual. So I think that connects us because you can't deny that whenever you hear it and feel it, it is coming from someplace outside of yourself. And that means you have it and you have it. And oh, I want to enjoy this. And it allows us to have a common language that a lot of times things that we don't like politically or religiously or whatever divides us. But again, I like that song, the melody. It goes past the head to the heart, if I can put it like that. So I think that's one way it unifies us, because it's something that we can always rely on to be something that we can have in common.
Unify. The first music that impacted me or that influenced me was it a Christian music, not the music itself. A popular music style was Banaraga, Banapie. My dad was a pastor. When he made a mistake and left us home, don't take us to church, and it was in Carnival moment. around February. So I saw the Bon Appier, like one after one, pass by our house. And then the melody, the song. These are not people that went to school one day to learn music, but they have some kind of soul in the music. And I said, oh man, I have to be a composer. And then, hey, there was a guy, most Asian gonna know this name. Did you hear about Canal du Vent? Canal du Vent? This man was a great composer in the country, yes. Say nobody would believe that. And his music always made the wordings and then the sound. So that to tell you, it's only one music. And what I never do, if I write a music for my wife, I don't change the word and say, okay, this music is too beautiful, I'm gonna bring it in church. I leave it just as it is. The music is from above, but the word is delegated to somebody. I leave it like that. And then God's music remain God's music by the word. But music in itself is one. And
I have a question for you. Thinking about it, can you see ways that music can be a negative thing and impact negatively people's lives? And then when you were talking before, you said like music or inspired by God, right? But in all times, I mean, if you're thinking about some words people are using in music, would you always see it as coming from above?
that's the thing, the word. You just said it, the words. But the music itself can be good. But nevertheless, to express joy, there are some kind of music, most likely major. Express sadness, it's most likely minor. Like da na na ni na ni na 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 da na 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 da da. Chante catholique. So this, to express. But the same way can be positive and negative. The hip hop, the rocks music, and then some raps. We have all kind of raps, like express love, fight. The words in all over the place, like violence, and music will remain music no matter what. But the heart can change it. Depend of the source it's coming from. Can be a negative thing.
Wow, this is a deep question because we've even seen in the last few years, or really just in generations, how the wrong influence can turn somebody from, and again, the key is the influence. And so I don't want to turn it away from the responsibility of the artist to create beauty, to create things. And just like you said, there's lots of emotions that we should be able to express and not feel like every time you express something that's negative, that if somebody hears a song about, let's say a song, I Shot the Sheriff. People will sing that song. It's about shooting somebody, and someone will sing it with joy because they didn't connect it with violence. They connected it with a story. But when we change story into influence, and I should do what this artist is singing about, so now there's a responsibility on the audience and there's a responsibility on the artist. The artist's responsibility is what am I trying to say? Who am I trying to impact? And why would I want them to follow my lead in this art? Now, if I sing a song about murder or something like that, and it's in a play that has a redeeming quality at the end that says, hey, you shouldn't do this. It's a song about this, but the truth is it's something that you shouldn't do. So now we have to make sure that our art, our music, has a redeeming message at the end of the story. You need to know this is not what I'm saying to do. This is part of life. So yes, we sing about things that are bad. Yes, we sing about things of divorce and things like that. But it doesn't mean that we're telling the people to do it, unless, of course, like I said, that you said it perfectly, the heart. If the heart of the artist is I don't care what you think. I'm just going to create whatever I create. Well, now it goes back to you. Why are you using those words or those negative things and using a medium that is beautiful to create something ugly? Anything that's created can be used. Food is great until you eat too much of it. Alcohol can be okay until you have too much of it. So it's about how you use this gift that we've been given, and are you going to use it for positive, even to tell the story that may be hard to tell, but then use it in the end of the day to make the world more beautiful, more safe, more loving, more kind, and to express something that couldn't be expressed otherwise. If you do it with the wrong heart, then there's nothing the music can do to save it. The artist can't save it. It comes from the wrong place. And yeah, unfortunately, we just have to constantly navigate that. I hope that helps.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Uh, something that you call, I'm not talking about promoters. Sometimes the challenge can be, the pressure can be hard on the artist. Okay, I'm gonna write this song nice, and then the promoter, the promoter say, "Wow, that's a beautiful song, but you should change this word because that's gonna be more commercial. That's gonna bring more money." And I remember popular Haitian artist was telling me a song that I used to sing when I was younger. That's a, can I sing it?
Mm-hmm.
Ti mesdames, yo di ou va kon danse, musique va de. Okay, when they were recording this music, uh, a guy come and say, "Okay, guys, I understand the words, but you're gonna change this word to that word." But this is the word it said that make the music very popular because they know how to play with the people brain.
Mm-hmm.
So when money is the only motive, is the only purpose for the music, that can turn it to something terrible sometimes because you don't care. You just want to make money. You give them what they like.
Well, it seems like the composer, the artist, they have a lot of power on us, right? I have one question for you. Now we are in music tech, so in the event of technology, AI, digital platforms, what do you think are like the challenges and opportunities for the artist in order like to really impact and to succeed?
You find the music, huh? Okay. The thing is, first of all, you have to respect yourself and respect what you're doing. You know that technology is there for us. We didn't have YouTube back in the days, but now we have it. And if you have a music that you love, and then when you finish recording this music, of course, the first judge for the music gonna be kids. Sometimes they listen to the music and they start singing it, and you say, if they love this music can be good because kids, me by experience, when I write a music before I publish it, and my kids, the way they respond, I already know how the public gonna respond. You need to do everything you should do. There are about 16, 16 ways, 16 things you should do to post your music to make people wanna check on you, like the cover, the name you're gonna. Of course, you need to give the music a name, a nice name. Everything you should do. If I have a time, I can. They are too much. You can go. You can Google it. By the way for you to present yourself to the public, and do whatever you have to do, and the rest you can ask for advices and so
Or
much.
AI?
There you go. Go to AI, and so much thing are available for us now. So don't just do it. Okay, careless. Do everything you have to do, and then buy your customers. I learned this. Customers are expensive. Buy them, and then you will succeed.
Wow. So this all comes on the heels of, I believe Google just had a big conference, in which they showed experimental AI, which was able to create movie scores for songs, and basically you typed it in just because we already have Mid Journey, and obviously ChatGPT is the one everybody talks about, but we have these tools where you type it in and it creates something, right? So the artists already, the digital artists are very nervous, and now the record companies are nervous. The record companies weren't nervous before until they realized that their proprietary information, their copyrighted voices, the artists that we're putting money into, now could be replicated. And here's the thing about AI, and I'm not an expert on AI or anything like that, but I do think this is one of the things that technological disruption is predictable. We could have seen Spotify coming. They could have seen the cassette tapes coming. I remember when cassettes came out, we were freaking out. We're going to record the radio. Oh my gosh, we're not going to have radio anymore because we're going to record. Some of y'all don't know what a cassette is in this room and never seen a cassette. But when cassettes came out, you remember that we can record the radio. So disruption in the industry is expected. Napster and now AI. So all of these things you're going to see continually where the technology threatens the artist. The thing I think, number one, I do use AI myself. I've used ChatGPT for marketing. I've used for my podcast. I've realized that it's a tool. The question is, when does the tool start to use me? When do I start to become a product versus a creator? So I love what you said about, I didn't know that about the copyright, like putting proprietary information into chat, and then it's part of the machine now. So I think artists, we just have to be aware of, just like with streaming, just like with any new technology, am I using it as a tool, or am I becoming a product that the company, social media, perfect example. If it's free, everybody's getting mad because of blue check marks, but the product was free. You were the product all along. They just decided to monetize another piece of it, but our eyeballs were always the product. So social media is another example where we thought it was a tool until it became the product. So I think artists have to realize that, again, if AI becomes something where you're synthesizing voices and everything, it can become something where we're now adding to the issue of, are we being original? Are we being distinctive? And guarantee you, just like people went to organic food and they were getting away from genetically modified, I guarantee you one day there's going to be music that's going to say 100% human. You're going to have to. And then the artists who do that will be the ones that everybody jumps on, because you're not using AI. What? You wrote that song yourself? You played that violin yourself? No computers were involved in the creation of this music? So I remember in rap and hip hop, we were all nervous about sampling. Exact same thing. We said, it's going to change, no real music, until we realized, no, they're using it as a tool. It's okay to sample to a point. So as long as it's okay to use the technology to a point to advance your art, then the technology is to be expected. Of course you want new things to come out. Of course you want new technology. But the question, again, is, when is it becoming where you're no longer distinctive? You're becoming part of the collective. You're becoming part of just same, because it's easier versus being unique. And so, again, it's a hard question. I don't know if I have an answer for our artists, but yeah, I think it's something we're all going to continue to find out in the next few years.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Before ending the panel, I'm going to take a question from you. You've been asking. Marsha, can you use the mic so we can hear you properly? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes, better.
My name is Marsha Carmita Seeley. I want to thank the panelists for your contribution, and there's a few things I wanted to add. I am a writer, a composer, and I remember when I was out there, he was saying, I'm bringing people to the church in numbers. And he used to have a commercial on the radio station that says, "Come one, come all. Doesn't matter what you wear. Everyone is welcome. There's standing room only." That type of an advertisement, which you would normally hear for a club. And he ended up being off of the AM station, and he was so hurt. And I remember him saying, we had a chance to reach the masses, but they were saying we were too secular, right? And the next thing you know, he's closing out the Ricky Smiley show on a syndicated show on an FM dial. So when it boils down to purpose, he was on a lower frequency when he was talking about being on the AM station, and actually raised to a higher frequency on FM on a syndicated show, which means that he was going all across the nation several times a day, not just one. So when you boil down to the music, whatever he was playing was going to come across to more people more times versus that one AM station. And it all boils down to purpose. So if you know what your purpose is and you know what your message is, it doesn't matter if someone else thinks that it's too secular. Why? They said the sky was the limit. Well, they then sent a woman to the moon, didn't they? Right? So if the sky is the limit in your eyes, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the limit in my eyes, because that discussion was not a conference call with God and me. It was a direct line, a DM, as we would say, into my inbox as to where I need to be with my music. So let's bring it to an artist like Vegas. Mr. Vegas is known for dance hall, but then his biggest song most recently is I am blessed. I am blessed every day of my life. I'm blessed. But it's still over a dance hall rhythm. So he's reaching the masses in dance hall, but yet it's a spiritual song, right? Whether you're Christian or you're Buddhist or whatever you believe in, it's a platform that he knew his purpose and he was supposed to deliver. So when the two of you spoke about composition, when you spoke about the rendering of music, it didn't matter what rhythm it was on. It was a purpose that the two of you had to deliver, whether it was kompa, soca, reggae, it didn't matter. The message was going to render big and loudly, because it was a message that boiled down to purpose. So as long as you know your purpose, make sure you walk in it. And I want to thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to ask you to give a final word by answering this. I know you both composing, right? So what do you want to leave? I don't know, as a legacy, composing music.
Oh wow. As I've gotten older, every time I've played, my one desire, honestly, whether it's composing, performance, anything artistic, anything creative, it is to leave the world and the person that heard it better than before they heard it. That's it. The song or the music that I create, as we keep saying, and I love what you said, it has a purpose. And so I heard this on one of my podcasts. One of the ladies that I interviewed, she said it beautifully. She said, I want my voice to outlive me. And so I want my music and I want what I create in the world to outlive me, so that there's something that can resonate. I love the word frequency, like you said, resonate and continue to connect with people. And it doesn't matter if it has words or not. A lot of the songs I write are more instrumental, but it still can have a resonance. It can still have something that connects with people, either connects them with God or connects them with their purpose or connects them with their loved ones or connects them with a moment and a memory that lasts longer than the moment did, lasts longer than the note did. So that's really what I try to do, and what I've tried to do in my books and my podcasts. It's the same thing. It's although it might not be all music, it's related to what I have been given, and I want to give back to the world as long as I can, and make sure that I'm a good steward of it. So yeah, I think that's my legacy I'm trying to leave.
Thank you. Mr. Innocent?
As for me, first, I will always express gratitude to the master of everything that created music. It makes me who I am. And when I grew up in a community where they used to judge you, how you dress up, your last name, where you're from, and That's when I had a music that say, "Don't remind me who I used to be, but look who I am right now." Um, this word right now among young people are being sing. Are they singing it? These words, and then to have more confidence. And there's another song that God inspired me to write that say, "Mwen gen pile valeur, I am valuable." It doesn't matter my class, my color, my race. I am valuable to somebody. And then you use what you have just to speak to bring a message. And I thank God. It's not I'm doing advertising, but it's an opportunity I have in this age. Last night before I sleep, I said, okay, let me go to TikTok, and I put the title of one of my songs. That the song is "Léo Palais." Montagne ou pas qu'à camper, Léo Palais, Léo Palais. And I said this music is like thousands of people sing it. And then the word is, no mountain can stand at your voice, and the sea cannot be raging when you speak. So many people right now, even artists, you might see us on the stage. You think we have no problem, we have no issue. Hey, we finish making you happy right now, and we go to our room crying. That's, and then I believe as long as an artist is living, you have a message, you can bring it. So what I want to do, I just want to write whatever come to my head, and then do it, and then distribute it so people can sing, can do. And I'm a father of 4. I'm a husband. I do what I got to do. I have my 8 to 5. I have my 8 to 5 job, and I enjoy doing it. And then in the time that I do music, I work with churches, and I'm living life for me and for this generation and for God.
Thank you so much, misters. It was really a good time speaking with you, a very deep and emotional conversation. I hope you all enjoy it. Thank you again. And I will pass the mic to Mr. Altima.